Opening exercise. Imagine you have two equally sized containers. One is pure water and the other is 50% water and 50% juice. If you combine them, what percent of juice would be the result? All right, so I have a table set up here to help us solve this problem. So let's put in the information that we know. We know that our first container is, we'll just say whatever it is, 1 gallon or 1 liter. And we know that they are equally sized, so the second one is going to be 1 as well. And when we add those together, we get a total amount of liquid 2. All right, so to figure out our pure juice, we're going to go back and use our part equals percent times whole. Our whole is the amount of liquid, so I'm going to move that down here. I'll draw arrows so you can see where that number came from. Times the percent. And that's going to equal the part that is pure juice. So this first one is pure water, so it is 0% juice, which would result in 0 gallons of pure juice. The second one is 50% juice. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a decimal. So 0.5. So when I add these together, I'm going to add together the amount of pure juice, and that would be my total here, and that way we can find our percentage. So I'm going to put down here, add amounts from first and second. So 0 plus 0.5, which is 0.5. So that's going to be my resulting part. And so then we need to solve for our percent here. All right, so I'm going to copy that down. So I had 0.5 equals question mark times 2. So to solve for my question mark, I divide by 2. And when I do 0.5 divided by 2, I get 0.25 is equal to that percent, which would be 25% juice. All right, a 2-gallon container of pure juice is added to 3 gallons of water. What percent of the mixture is pure juice? So let's do our amount of liquid. So our first liquid is 2 gallons. Our second liquid is 3, which would result in 5. Remember that we're using our part equals percent times whole. These amounts are our wholes, so I'm going to go ahead and bring those down. We're going to times them by the percent, which is what we're trying to find here. So in my 2-gallon container, it is pure juice, so that would be 100% juice. So 100% as a decimal would be 1. So 2. 3 gallons of water would be 0% juice, so 0. When I add those together, add first and second. So 2 plus 0 is 2. That gives me a resulting amount of 2. All right, so I need to solve for my question mark. So I'm going to copy this down lower on my paper. 2 plus question mark times 5. Oops, 2 equals, not plus, question mark times 5. To solve for this unknown, we would have to do the opposite and divide. When we do that, we get 0.4, which when we change to a percent would be 40% juice. If a 2-gallon container of juice mixture that is 40% pure juice is added to 3 gallons of water, what percent of the mixture is pure juice? All right, so our first container is 2 gallons. Our second liquid container is 3 gallons, which would result in 5. And again, we're doing our part equals percent times whole. All right, so we're going to times, and we're solving for this percent. So my 2-gallon container is 40% juice. I'm going to write that as a decimal. And then is added to 3 gallons of water, so this would be 0. All right, when I multiply this, I get 0.8. And when I multiply this, I get 0. So now I'm going to add them together. So 0.8, I'll put a note right here. Add 0.8 plus 0 is 0.8. So my resulting liquid would be 0.8. And then we need to find this percent, so we're going to solve this equation. In order to solve, we divide by 5. I can use my calculator to divide this out, and we get 0.16, so it'd be 16% juice. All right, if a 2-gallon juice cocktail that is 40% pure juice is added to 3 gallons of pure juice, what percent of the resulting mixture is pure juice? So our first liquid is 2 gallons. Our second liquid is 3 gallons, which would result in a total of 5. If you'll notice, I'm starting to leave off some of the notes because we're doing the same thing that we did on the other questions. Okay, we're solving for this percent. So my 2-gallon is 40% pure juice, so 0.4, which we worked this out on the last problem, which gave us 0.8. Is added to 3 gallons of pure juice, that would be 100%, so times 1, which would be 3. So now we're going to add together. So 0.8 plus 3 would be 3.8. And now we need to solve for this percent. 3.8 equals our percent times our whole of 5. So in order to solve this, we divide by 5. When you work that out, you can use your calculator. You get 0.76, which would be 76% juice.